and welcome to Mondays with Maria Gould. This is March 24th, 2025, and we are on episode 12. Today's topic is about what is our human potential. Last week in episode 11, I shared my spiritual perspective about this time in history where I spoke about the great epochs of time, the day and night of God. And these are basically the yugs, if you go back into great yogic history, how the yogis would study the actual great cycles of time, and they called this the day and night of God. There's more on that in episode 11, which you're welcome to visit my website at mariagould.com to listen to that episode and understand my perspective of what's happening right now on the planet with the awakening. But today is talking about our human potential. Thinking of spring, we just went through our spring equinox, so happy spring equinox to you. And thinking about spring as new growth, and that new growth leading to the potential of harvesting more abundance in our life. So I want you to think as I'm sharing today, what would you like to grow? And what rewards would you like to reap this year? So when we think back, and I want you to just feel back through your own understanding of human history and the collective consciousness on the planet, and how humans really have been, just like I referred to last week, in a deep slumber or a deep unconscious state. And they are starting to wake up, but that old collective energy, that old consciousness of lack and scarcity and disease and aging, those beliefs that we've been passed down generationally of being not good enough, feeling unloved, being traumatized. And we pack all of this heaviness in our DNA, in the cells of our body, just weighing us down into this 3D reality that keeps us locked into materialism, right? Keeps us locked in these lower frequencies of that unconscious state of the night of God. But we are starting to come into the awakening, the day of God in the great great yogic cycles. And we're starting to awaken, and you'll see that in the consciousness of humanity. Now, this hasn't just happened in the last few years. This has been a gradual awakening, and that shift into moving into the dawning age, which is the name of my business, Dawning Light Healing Arts. That's another story. But anyways, we are at that precipice of the dawning of the new day, the dawning of coming towards that age of Aquarius and what is prophesized by many great cultures. So we're starting to wake up to this heaviness that's in our cells, these traumas that no longer serve us, that we've carried for generations. And in my opinion, I think that is why we can see so much mental health issues and mental instability in our society, and people looking to self-medicate through food or drugs or addictions of some sort in order to try and tamper down the energy and the wounding that is coming up in the collective consciousness to be looked at. But truly, this awakening that will need to be addressed in each of us, not only as a collective, but individually. So, what is our human potential? So I've talked about where we've been, but where are we going? So in many historic texts, even our Bible speaks about miraculous feats done by Jesus and other disciples of that time. Even Jesus refers to being able to, that we too shall be able to do more than he did. I believe it's John's, now I might quote this wrong, but John's 14:12 or 12:14, forgive me if I misquote that. And the Indian sages or Indian yogis have been known to do amazing things, like Sai Baba was known to manifest rubies and emeralds in his hand. Even one of my teachers, Master Lama Rasaji, spoke about a master that he saw and trained with in India that could take elephant dung, literally elephant dung, and turn it into a dragon fruit. And he would cut that dragon fruit and pass it around to each person to taste. And then when everyone had their fill of the dragon fruit, he would turn the remainder back into dung. So our capabilities and really our divine human potential is so much more than we've ever been told in the collective consciousness. In my article that I write in my newsletter this week, I share about different saints that bilocate, spiritual bilocation, being able to be in more places than one. And this is talked about in our history, not only by the yogis, but different saints have been known to do this. What if this is what Jesus was referring to? What if this is that thee shall do more than even me is the reference to? So when I was training with Vianna Stibal, the founder of Theta Healing, she shared in one of the classes a vision that she was shown by the Creator of where humanity is kind of supposed to be, but we're a little behind schedule. And where we're supposed to be is living a happy, joyous, healthy, abundant life, knowing we are part of all that is, knowing that with a thought, we can spiritually bilocate, that we can manifest anything that we want, that we can change the water, that we can create water in a place that has no water. That this is our human potential. But what holds us back? Well, first of all, what's in our DNA? I spoke of it earlier. That heaviness, those beliefs, those traumas that have been with us for generations have actually held us back in our understanding of who we really are. That negative mindset, that negative outlook on who we are as beings holds us back from seeing who we really are as divine sparks of light. I think that is the gift of Theta Healing. The gift of Theta Healing, and one of the many, is that it is a beautiful, beautiful healing modality that gives us the tools to not only shift our own personal beliefs, but as we shift our beliefs, it actually affects our DNA. And that starts to go out into the world, into our families, into whoever we are genetically related to. Now think of that. That's even your partner, your spouse, your children, your grandchildren, your sisters, your brothers, your cousins. Now, the more people that do this, the more this energy spreads into all of the consciousness of the human race. I've seen miracles where people do their work in the class and they're very stoic or unmoving father all of a sudden believes something totally different because that student did their belief work and shifted those genetic beliefs, freeing their father to make changes in their consciousness. It's miraculous how this works. So if you have always known that you are here to help change this planet, Theta healing is one of the most profound tools to help you do that. Not only for your own life, but for your family, everyone you're related to, everyone you come in contact with. This beautiful energy of creation that we are all a part of will transform those that you are in contact with. So our potential, Vianna was shown, was that we could do what Jesus had done and more. But when she saw this vision, this was way back in the 90s, and she had been doing healing for a while, and she couldn't understand, how do you get humanity that really doesn't think a lot of itself, that has so much wounding and trauma and baggage from generations and our past and unhealed parts of ourselves? How do we get from that to our true divine human potential? And Vianna was shown that humanity and the consciousness of humanity really has mastered the negative emotions. We have mastered in history depression. We have mastered scarcity and lack. We have mastered all of the lower frequencies that keep us in this consciousness. But she was shown by the Creator, the huge shift in humanity will really come from shifting our consciousness to the positive ways of looking at the world. For ourselves to understand that we are loved unconditionally by the Creator of all that is, and to understand that we truly are part of everything. And we start to actually understand that we're valuable in the scheme of all things, that we are important in this world, that we are irreplaceable, actually. The value of our light, that spark of light that Creator gifted you with, is only in you. You're completely unique in the light and frequency that you bring to this planet. But when that light and that frequency is covered by hurt and unhealed parts of ourselves, traumas, negative thinking, heaviness in every way, how can we ever see that light within ourselves, let alone other people see that light? And therefore, how would we share that light that Creator gifted us with the world? Well, that's when Vianna was shown that we are here to start to master the positive attributes, the positive experiences in the world. what unconditional love feels like from the Creator, what being cherished, what feeling, the feeling of being supported by your loved ones, the feeling of abundance, the feeling of health, of wealth, of happiness. I remember there was one person that she was a friend and came for a session, and she was going through a very, very difficult divorce. And when I first asked her permission to have Creator show me into her life, into her space, Creator's question for her was, where is your joy? And I know when we're going through such difficult times in our life, it's hard to even remember when we had joy. And that's what she said. She says, I don't remember ever having joy. And we brought in a download. Now, a download is where we bring this understanding of this feeling, this positive feeling, into every cell of the person's body. It actually creates receptors on the membrane of the cell, so that that cell can bring that feeling, that frequency, and therefore the actual equivalent in the material world into it. And I'll explain that component in a second. But this client totally shifted when her cells understood that it was her birthright to be joyous. So rather than holding on to the resentment of why the marriage was falling apart, the indiscretions on her partner's behalf, all of this hurt and resentment about what that relationship put her through and how much she had denied herself true joy just because of that relationship, she was all of a sudden realized that she could allow herself to have joy. And if that meant letting go of that relationship, to allow that joy to be in her life, she no longer had resentment. She could forgive, she could move beyond that, because now the cells in the brain realized joy was really what she wanted. So let's talk a little bit about downloads. Downloads give the energy, that consciousness, that positive feeling from the Creator of all that is into every cell of the body, creating those receptors. Now I'm going to give you an example. We have seen in Theta Healing that certain feelings are related to certain physical things in our body. For example, the feeling of being supported is literally equated to minerals in our body. So if we don't feel supported on some level in our life, your body actually can block the minerals in your diet. I had one friend that never felt supported by her father, and she couldn't understand why she actually couldn't absorb any calcium or magnesium. She was diagnosed with osteopenia, osteoporosis, and was on all types of medications to try and shift this in her body, but her body wouldn't even take the minerals in. It just passed right through her until we did the belief work, until we showed her and healed that part that felt unsupported by her father. And then all of a sudden her cells had that receptor for that support, i.e. the calcium magnesium. All of a sudden her body starts taking in the calcium and magnesium in her body and rebuilding her bones. So downloads are profoundly life-changing for the body. And sometimes our experiences of life or our ancestors' lives have actually blocked us from receiving the good. So when Vianna was shown the power of downloads, She was told by the Creator our human potential will be amplified tremendously if we get lots of positive downloads. So we start to master and practice the positive feelings in our world. How can we have abundance if we don't know what abundance feels like? How can we create that in our world? How can we create health or happiness if we don't know what that feels like? If we have no point of reference in our mind or our body, what that feels like, it's hard to create. But through the love and compassion and grace of the Creator, we can bring these feelings in. So all of a sudden your cells, your brain gets what it feels like to have these positive things in your life. And therefore it is much easier to create these positive things. So when Vianna was shown the power of the downloads and how bringing in lots of these powerful downloads into the body of each student would help amplify them and move them faster and faster and faster into that divine human potential that she saw in her vision, that Creator showed her. This is how the advanced DNA class was born. Now we have the basic DNA class, where we show you the kind of nuts and bolts of theta healing. We show you how to go up in the theta healing meditation, connect with the Creator of all that is. We show you how to scan the body, how to witness healing from the Creator, how to change really basic beliefs. We show you lots of cool things like how to speak to an angel. We learn about the planes of existence. More on that later in another podcast. And then the advanced class is really the next level. Vianna was told by the Creator that the downloads, just the downloads in the advanced class, can speed up people's spiritual growth by 150 or more lifetimes towards enlightenment. So we're taking that collective consciousness of humanity that had lack and scarcity and traumas and diseases to living beyond that, living in joy, living in possibility, living in happiness and abundance. So if you are curious about theta healing, I encourage you to check out my website, mariagould.com, but also join my email list, where you get a weekly newsletter with this podcast, with other articles and mind-expanding ideas. So our human potential is our divine potential. We are here to do so much more than we believe is possible. But the classes help you start to believe that it's possible. And the more that you start to see it and feel it and know it to be possible, you start stepping into who the Creator of all that is made you to be. So what would it be like to save yourself over 150 lifetimes? To start to live without negative thinking, how to live without doubts, how to live without fear, and that could be a possibility. So I hope that you join me. I do have an advanced theta healing class coming up next month. It is April the 25th, 26th, and 27th. And you can still join that class if you have a basic class with anyone. you would qualify to take that class. And you can find out more on my website at mariagould.com and click under classes to learn more. But you don't want to miss out. I have an early bird registration that ends on April the 11th that you don't want to miss. You'll save $100 on the regular price of the class. So check out more details on my website for that. Are you ready to take a big leap towards your divine human potential? If so, I hope you join me in the advanced DNA Theta Healing class in April. Now next week I'm teaching with a teacher, Cornelia Tomei, and we're teaching DNA 3. DNA 3 is an advanced class in Theta Healing that is 5 days, where we really have you practice stepping into your divine potential. What do we do in DNA 3? Well, we do those things that Jesus said we would do. We start moving our 3 eternal molecules that travel with us and have all of our ancient spiritual knowledge. We activate those. And then we start to practice moving objects with our mind. We start to practice spiritual bilocation. We start to tune into our soul's song and learning the sacred language, our sacred name. This can amplify our connection with the Creator and all that is, and witness more miraculous healings in a quicker amount of time, instantaneously. So if you're intrigued with DNA 3, you can check out on my website more about that class. Again, you would need quite a few classes before you would qualify for DNA 3, but a lot of people, once they hear what you're learning in DNA 3, this is what draws them to Theta Healing. So I thought I would share. So it has been an honor and a pleasure to share with you today. Thank you for your attention. Thank you for your time. And again, I invite you to join my email list. We'll be having lots of different specials. I will be doing meditations and interviews with others on what miracles they have witnessed in their life. It's going to be so fun. So again, wishing you a very blessed day, wishing you a wonderful Monday, and reach out. Find your true human potential. You are worth it, and you are loved. Have a wonderful, wonderful day.